Okay, once again, talking about domain rating, Ahrefs uses domain rating, and another platform I use is Ubersuggest, and they use domain authority. Both are scored between 0 and 100. You'll find that if you look up your competitors in these two platforms, I know you can do it in Ubersuggest. I don't think you can actually look up anything other than yourself in Ahrefs with the free plan. Maybe you can do it in the paid plan. I only have the free plan. But Ubersuggest, I do have the paid plan, which is a lifetime membership they offer for about $260. It is well worth it. It gives you a plethora of information, not just on your website, but on your competitors' websites as well. Okay, so I went from a domain rating of 0 at the end of March to a domain rating of 35 on April 21st. And most of that jump came from backlinks I acquired in the prior 6 weeks. More than half came from a company I'm using out of the UK called RhinoRank. Now, I'm going to level with you on backlinks. It is going to be very difficult to acquire backlinks on your own. I got about 7 or 8 of them on my own, and actually some to high-ranking domain rating websites in the 50s and 60s even. But it took me about 80 hours for 4 or 5 weeks to come up with those. And while some of you might say, well, I didn't have to pay for them, it was a lot of time, and I think you'd be better served having a company actually produce your backlinks for you. It costs money though. Just to give you an idea, I paid for 14 backlinks on my first wave of the RhinoRank, and it came to $935. They do have packages where you can buy links for as little as $70. They will do a Zoom call with you and talk to you about your website, ask you what your goals are, and they will put you on a plan that actually fits your goals for you. So you need to know what your goals are if you decide to talk to any of these link building companies. Now I will tell you, I'm not going to throw any link building companies under the bus, but I looked at about 10 different companies, and several of them, they're just looking to get your credit card and say they're going to build quality links. But the only company that actually made an effort to reach out for me, they didn't just make an effort to reach out, they reached out for me on email. It wasn't like they were in my face trying to tell me they were the best company around. They simply said, this is what we can do for you. And the manager for the section that actually is handling my package of links that I'm doing monthly, he actually reached out for me within about an hour of sending them a request. And the following morning, I was actually talking to the person that actually manages my account. And we were on a Zoom call for about an hour, and they're 6 hours ahead over in the UK. I think she was working until about 6:37 that night just to talk to me about my plan and my program, period. So I'm going to give RhinoRank a plug, and I kind of have to because I had a domain rating score of 0 before I acquired those links a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm at a 35. But here's the wake-up call on that. What you'll start learning is if you dig down in the weeds and don't just listen to what I'm telling you, go look elsewhere, do your own research. A domain rating score of 35, like I said, without longevity and trust by Google doesn't mean a lot. But even if it did, let's say, for example, I keep buying backlinks at 10 to 14 a month from RhinoRank. And I already told you how much that's going to cost. And in all actuality, they're going to get more expensive because I have to start acquiring higher quality links as my domain rating goes up. So my budget is $950 to $1,000 a month, period. You can get away with doing this for about $400 to $500 and still be successful in 12 months. I've just kind of got it on steroids, and got my wife's permission to spend a little extra money to try and get this business off the ground, but not everybody's that fortunate. So I'm lucky that way. Anyhow, but what I wanted to tell you was even if I acquire another, say, do the math, 10 backlinks over the next 11 months, that's 110 in addition to the 14 I have. You probably think, wow, I'm at a domain rating of 35. I'm probably going to be at 90 or 100 in month 12. Not the case. That first jump from the RhinoRank links that I got and the 6 to 8 that I acquired on my own for a total of about 20 decent links is what raised me to 35, but even another 10 to 15 links might raise me to 36. What happens is when you hit this mid-30s range, you kind of peak, and every month, whatever links you acquire might raise you another point or a point and a half if you're lucky. So it would take about 12 months of keeping up the same pace and quality links that I'm at right now, to actually probably get somewhere up near 45, maybe 47 or 48. But that's okay, because that's a good spot to be in, because now I've got 12 more months of establishing trust with Google. I've probably done, I don't know, a handful of blogs, 2 or 3 a month. I've got this YouTube video that I'm doing that I'll tie back to my blog. And while we're on that topic, let's talk about tying back. What do I mean? The things that Google is going to measure most are internal links, backlinks, keyword placement in your pages, how long you've been around, your longevity, and ultimately they're going to look at all these in kind of a group arrangement, like a big report card. And there's several other things that they look at that I'm not even sure what that is, but it doesn't matter, and you don't need to know it, because I'm trying to tell you here that the nuts and bolts, what you do need to know, and that is what we're talking about in this video: keywords, backlinks. You need to have content that's updated. I plan on updating your content, maybe refreshing a paragraph or something in all your product pages at least once a month. You don't have to take something out. You can add something, you can change it, you can modify anything in your product or collection pages, as long as you're focusing on your long-tailed, medium, and short-tailed keywords. And you just got to keep moving. Like I said, the hardest part of your business, especially if you're a one-person SEO manager like I am for my business, it's up to you to make it work. And making candles for me has become secondary. You can probably see the shelves of candles. I'll move out of the way here. You can probably see a whole bunch of candles in the background there, but truth is, they've been sitting there for about 3 months. I had about 700 or 800 candles done in mid-March, and I am selling them. I go to markets, and every now and then I get someone online that finds me, and that's great, but it's not progressing the way I thought it would. I thought candles would just be jumping off the shelf, but they're not. So once again, I apologize for being all over the place. Once again, I'm trying to get a lot of information out to you, but want to make clear that it's a long-term plan. It's a marathon, not a race. If you just started an e-commerce business today and started your website today, it's going to be 18 to 24 months before you're appearing on page 1 and page 2 search engine response pages due to keywords that someone is looking up on Google or Bing for your product. So the most important message to get out is, if you're thinking about doing it, get the website going and start working on your website. Even before you start perfecting your product. And if you already have a product you can make, and you don't need to learn how to do it like I did with candles, I pretty much just decided I was going to learn how to make candles and sell them. Kudos to you, because you're ahead of the game. But whatever you do, you need to run the actual process of search engine optimization and whatever you're doing with perfecting your product in parallel with making sure your website is perfected as well. Okay, so some other important notes here. Other competitors that are actually in the candle business, some of my competitors that are strictly e-commerce and don't have storefronts or physical locations for anyone to visit, have domain rating scores that are actually less than mine right now. There's one company, and I don't want to mention companies in these videos, all right? But they've been around for about 15 years, and their domain rating score is 34. But what's interesting is they have about 25,000 site visits to their website every month. So you probably think 25,000, well, that's great, but here's what it comes down to, and this is kind of the industry curve on what's called, some places call it click-through rate. I think Google calls it a click-through rate. And these are all unique terms that you may have wondered what they mean before, but here's what it comes down to. When someone goes to your website, do you actually convert? And convert means, did you actually have a transaction? Did they buy something? So that company that I was referring to a few minutes ago that has a domain rating of 34, less than mine, I'm a 35, has about 25,000 site visits a month on average, because I can see it in Ubersuggest, it tells me. And what you know is that about 2% of the people that visit your website are going to buy something. Now, we'll get back to some other factors that contribute to your sales that you're doing at your website, but 2%. So, you do the math, you're looking at roughly 2% of 25,000, right? Which is about 500 transactions a month. Well, you may think that's a little low, but the average candle transaction is somewhere between 2 and 3 candles. Let's just say 2. It's not 1, it's not 3, it's not 4, because some people buy different amounts of candles, but it is between 2 and 3 at the lower end. Let's just say probably really about 2.1, 2.2. But let's use 2 for simplicity. So that means that candle company is actually selling 1,000 candles a month. And depending on your profit margin, your candles may be, after you factored in overhead, everything that costs you, whatever it does cost you to make that candle, let's just say you're at $10. Now that's on the low end. Really good candle companies are probably making somewhere between $13 and $15 a candle. But let's just say $10, right? So that's $10 times 1,000 candles. That company's pulling in $10,000 a month. That's not bad for an e-commerce business. $120 a year profit, and there are all kinds of other write-offs you're going to have with that too. But that's with a domain rating score of 34, because they've been around a while and Google trusts them. That's what I'm trying to get at here when I say that your score is important, but it's not as important as trust.